Alright, today's DuckTales episode is an interesting one. I liked this one more than I thought I was going to when I saw the title. This was the Beagle Birthday Massacre. Massacre being a super strong word to use in the title of a children's cartoon, by the way. Holy crap. I guess they were, they kind of expected that kids would know what that word meant. Jeez, just kind of harsh. Right? And like, by definition, there's not even a massacre in the episode. I don't know why they couldn't have used a different word there. I don't know why this bothers me so much either, but it does. Anyway, obviously the titles reference the Beagle Boys. And while I don't find them like boring or anything, and it's like they've only been one episode anyway, right? I don't find them all that compelling either. So I was dreading this one a little bit, and straight up, didn't find them super compelling in this episode either. The draw of this episode is clearly in relation to the Beagle Boys, is clearly how the main characters of this episode dealt with them as a threat, and not literally the Beagle Boys themselves. But we'll get into that in a minute. The episode opens on the boys about to take Webby out on a boat, which is something that they apparently used to do, the three of them, a lot before they met her. But there's just not room on the boat for them and all the stuff they would need to take with them. And so because they have like inside jokes about their other trips, and this is something they've been looking forward to, and because Webby's just a good frickin' person, she's like, that's okay, I'll wait. And you guys, a couple of you guys can take me out next time. And so they go. And like, she literally doesn't have any hard feelings against them over this. Like she's kind of bummed that they have a bond with each other that she doesn't have with them, but she doesn't resent them for it or anything, which I thought was super cool. The moment I saw that happen, I thought it was going to be like a jealousy plot, but it's just straight up not. I also, for a second, thought this was going to turn out to be a nautical adventure, somehow, like for Webby and not the boys. I guess also for the boys, just off screen, but you know, you get my point. When before the titles, Webby finds a message in a bottle asking for help escaping a whirlpool of death or something along those lines. And her response is, ah yes, I, a child, am the one to deal with this problem. It was really freaking good, but it turns out it's one of many messages in bottles being dumped into the ocean as a prank by this character, Lena, who's like a cool girl punk teenager duck, which is a lot of words, some of which fit together in a sentence, one of which doesn't, and that's one of the best things about this show. It's just really freaking weird. Like, even the mundane stuff in this one is pretty weird, but always in a fun kind of way. And Webby is immediately impressed by this person. She's different, she's older, she's cool. They get along pretty well right out the gate. And when Webby does some of her cool flippy-doos and stuff, Lena immediately sees an opportunity for the two of them to work together to get into a big party she wants to attend in an old junkyard. And this actually sets up the rest of their dynamic in the episode. Webby has very specific skills, whereas Lena has like general street smarts and like a broader intelligence and think on your feet mentality that Webby doesn't really have, because Webby is uncomfortable in a lot of situations. And so Lena knows where the party is. Webby is able to get over the gate and get them in. But turns out the party that Lena was trying to infiltrate just for funsies is a Beagle Boy party. It's a birthday celebration for Ma Beagle. And she's still pissed about what happened in Day Trip of Doom. Surprise, surprise, a villain held a grudge against one of the main characters. So they're spotted, and now they're on the run from the Beagle Boys. And this is all the Beagle Boys, not just the three main ones, but there's like other trios of Beagle Boys who fit various themes. And we didn't get to see all of them in action as like chase antagonists in this episode, but all of the interesting ones, at least, played at least a little bit of a part in the plot of this episode. It was pretty cool. Again, I don't find them super interesting. and I don't find any of their shticks really that funny, amusing maybe, but they at least aren't boring to watch, if that makes sense. The stuff that focuses on them is watchable but not great, in my opinion. But Webby and Lena do lead them on a chase throughout the city, trying to get back to the manor where they'll be safe, and they do use the various gimmicks of the various groups against them, because these are two characters who range from very competent to extremely competent, and which one is which varies depending on the specific situation, and the Beagle Boys are, and I cannot stress this enough, the Beagle Boys. So outsmarting them isn't too difficult for these two characters, and they start to develop their own inside jokes and their own unique relationship, and turns out this is a found family kind of thing, and I really dig those, so automatically I'm super invested. And not just specifically because that trope is being employed here, but because the dynamic between these characters is really good. Like, just in general, it's super enjoyable. They have a lot of chemistry. You buy that these characters could really come to care about each other this much in such a short time. And even when they're faced with a trio of beagles who are kind of like if Pennywise was 3 cartoon dogs, and Lena is captured, and then Webby is also captured trying to save her, they're still intelligent enough and calm enough and quick-witted enough to pit the various trios of Beagle Boys against each other simply by Lena asking them which one gets credit for the capture. Their dynamic still works, even in the most dire of situations. Most people would not have survived this. Like the 3 boys are involved in the plot again at this point, too, and they would not have survived this if not for the combination of Lena and Webby. And in the end, the episode doesn't exactly spell it out, but they do acknowledge that the kind of thing that Webby and Lena have by this point in the episode is the same kind of thing that the boys have. That they are a family. And like, Webby also considers the boys her family at this point. The episode made that pretty clear too, but she just doesn't have that kind of relationship with them. At least not yet, and now she has it with someone, and that means a lot to her. And I think it means a lot to Lena too, even though there is a stinger at the end of this one showing Lena summon a shadowy figure, and then telling that shadowy figure that she's in, implying that this was all a ploy to get her in with the McDuck family. Because all throughout the episode, Lena seemed to be projecting some genuine hang-ups that she has onto the dynamic between Webby and the boys. As if she has some history with family that makes her distrusting of the concept as a whole. So what I'm thinking is going to happen here is she's going to be working for this shadowy villain. Don't know who it is. It's probably somebody from greater DuckTales lore that I don't know about, and I don't particularly want to. I wouldn't be surprised. But I imagine she's going to be working for this person. Maybe this person is even family, like her actual biological family, which would be really cool, found family versus bio family. And she's going to work against Webby for a while, but then realize that the bond they shared was real and get a redemption arc, which wouldn't exactly be original, but I do like this character enough that I'd really like to see that. And as predictable as that outcome is, I don't really think it would be super entertaining if this really cool new character spent an entire episode developing a relationship with, in my opinion, probably the best character in the show, that being Webby, of course. And then it turned out she was playing her and they played that straight, and Lena just turned out to be a villain who stayed a villain. It would be much more entertaining to see her be redeemed, as that creates more layers to her character. But I don't know what's going to happen, so I guess it could go either way. This is just wishful thinking on my part. But I do expect we'll see this character again relatively soon. I would think, because this show seems to follow up its plots pretty regularly. And this is super cool because the boys each have their own kind of thing. They are relatively distinct. The episode does have a funny bit where it calls out the fact that they're kind of the same character 3 times and then color-coded. But they are relatively distinct. They have their own personalities. They have their own things going for them. And they have a more direct tie to Scrooge, who is the plot device of the show, I guess would be the best way of putting it. Because he's like the guy who takes them on the expensive adventures and stuff, right? So it's nice that Webby's going to have a plot thread of her own, I guess is the best way of putting it. Overall, in terms of a humor, character, plot balance, this is probably my favorite episode of the show so far. It's just very strong in general, and I had a lot of fun watching it. As per usual, though, guys, I'd like to know, what did you think of the Beagle Birthday Massacre? Dear God. If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, you might as well hit the like button and share the video with anyone else you think might enjoy my content. I'm trying to get myself out there, and I'd really appreciate it if you guys could help. You could also check out my Tumblr or my Discord. Links to both of those are in the video description down below. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.